Good evening. The Mayor came under pressure from his defeated Conservative rival Susan Hall today over violent crime. She demanded Sadiq Khan gets a grip and questioned why he was in the West Midlands today when he should be in London sorting these issues out. Since polling day, 4 people have been stabbed to death in the capital and there was a shooting in Clapham in the early hours of Saturday morning. The victim was named today as Jasmel Deshawn Patterson-Lowe. He was 26. Here's our political correspondent Simon Harris, and his report does have images you may find distressing.
Parts of the Westbury estate in Battersea offer a bleak insight into inner city life. Boarded up homes, broken windows and piles of rubbish. And now flowers marking the spot where another young Londoner lost his life. Jas Dashorn Patterson-Lowe died from a single gunshot wound in the early hours of Saturday morning. Maz lives on the Westbury and after a 30-year career as a youth worker is convinced cuts to youth services are an underlying cause.
What is there for them? What are we offering them? How are we incentivising them to want to do good? We're not. We're not. You know, simple as that. Sorry for my rant, but I feel really passionate about this. It's these poor kids. They have no future. They have no life.
48 hours earlier, Anita McKay, a grandmother, died from stab wounds at Burnt Oak in North London. She was allegedly attacked at a bus stop. Yesterday, a 21-year-old man was charged with her murder.
People are just resigned to it. It's a case of, oh no, not again. Oh, it's another one. And I don't like that situation because once you have a situation where they're saying, oh no, not another one, then it's become mainstream. It's no longer a matter of great concern. It's just part of the noise that we live in.
In another shocking display of naked aggression, this video on social media appeared to show 2 women being attacked in a street in Camden. By the time police arrived, attackers and victims had vanished. London's violent crime epidemic was one of the key issues in the recent mayoral election. It's 11 days since Londoners went to the polls to re-elect Sadiq Khan for a 3rd term as mayor. In that time, there have been another 5 killings involving guns or knives. Sadiq Khan wasn't available to speak to us today. He was in the West Midlands at a Labour Party event along with other regional mayors. His main opponent in the mayoral election urged him to get a grip.
I mentioned violent crime to him during the election and he took the mickey out of me, quite frankly. It's nothing to be joking about. It's very, very serious. I believe he's in the West Midlands at the moment. He should be here sorting these issues out.
A spokesperson for Sadiq Khan said the mayor has committed to recruiting an extra 1,300 neighbourhood police officers and PCSOs to make communities safer and bear down on knife crime, as well as tackling the causes of crime by providing record funding for prevention through his violence reduction unit. On the Westbury estate, detectives appealed for witnesses to the shooting to come forward. Simon Harris, ITV News, Battersea.
Labour has kick-started the process to select a general election candidate to replace Jeremy Corbyn, its former leader, who's the independent MP for Islington North. He's been suspended from the party since 2020. Our political correspondent Simon Harris joins me from Westminster now. Simon, talk us through this, please.
Ronke, Jeremy Corbyn has been a Labour MP, has been the MP for Islington North, for an extraordinary 41 years, but he no longer sits on the Labour benches, as you said. He was suspended after he said the findings of an inquiry into anti-Semitism during his time as party leader were dramatically overstated. And more than a year ago, his successor, Sir Keir Starmer, made clear that Mr Corbyn would not be allowed to stand as a Labour candidate in the next election.
Jeremy Corbyn will not stand for Labour at the next general election as a Labour Party candidate. What I said about the party changing, I meant, and we are not going back, and that is why Jeremy Corbyn will not stand as a Labour candidate at the next general election.
The Labour Party tonight has taken the decisive step to replace him with a contest to select a new candidate, and it's probably going to cause quite a row. It's also going to be done very quickly. Applications close on Monday. The new candidate will be announced on June the 1st, and Labour has made it clear that Mr Corbyn cannot put his name forward. Well, there are 2 big questions tonight. Will he try to anyway? And if not, will he stand as an independent in the general election? When I've put that to him in the past, he's dismissed it as a theoretical question. Tonight, we've had no comment from Mr Corbyn.
OK, Simon Harris, live from Westminster. Thank you very much.
Well, the Green Party has had a bit of a go today at the Mayor, calling him a coward for deciding to scrap plans for pay per mile in the capital. Mr Khan had been considering a scheme to charge drivers for the distance they travel, but in the run-up to the mayoral election, his manifesto explicitly ruled out the idea after criticism from his opponents. Our political correspondent Simon Harris is in the late debate studio this evening.
Sadiq Khan has long been an enthusiast of road user charging. In his book last year, he proposed introducing it before the end of the decade. But when the Conservatives chose to make it an election issue, the mayor backed off and made a public promise not to bring in paper mile at any point during the next 4 years. However, the Greens and some transport campaigners think he's being short-sighted.
London can be ahead of the curve with paper mile, as it has been so far with the congestion charge, with ULEZ, with the ULEZ expansion. These have all been extremely successful measures. We'd be very keen to talk to the mayor and his team to actually get him back on track in terms of distance-based road user charging. We know it's something he's supported in the past, and we know deep down that he must understand how vital it is. We're in a climate emergency after all. The point really is that it's fairer for everybody involved, and that's what the public don't yet get to hear.
On tonight's programme, we'll ask whether paper mile is inevitable. After all, the government will need to find new ways to raise money if the electric car revolution means no more fuel duty. We'll also discuss what other priorities the mayor should have and those new laws to prosecute dangerous cyclists. I'll be joined by MPs Siobhan McDonough, Sir Bob Neill and Sarah Olney. That's the late debate here on ITV1 after news at 10.